participate, maybe also Marie-Louise, because the two of them were discussing until a few hours ago on the group, on the Google group. But okay, so yeah, what I have done is a proposal. So first of all, this is the document that I think to send to the ONOSA submittments, just to tell them what we would like to present in February. As I understood that Dennis detected, yeah, we are only requested to present our placeholders for the February session of the Scientific and Technical Committee. We are not obliged to present also the placeholders for the legal subcommittee that will be later, maybe in April or May. So, okay, this is a good thing because we are not constrained uh, to decide everything. And of course, this is only a proposal, so it's not. I think we will not be constrained to limit ourselves to this abstracts in case that we will understand that we want to present something more. But however, I think it is correct from their point of view to ask people to present their intentions so they can start organizing the items of the meeting, you know, the different items and so on. But however, okay, so starting from the beginning, Bernard has suggested that we should also have a general SRI statement, maybe only a speech, but maybe a presentation. And I thought that this presentation in February could be about our Congress, so announcing the SRI Fourth World Congress, Quality of Life on Earth and Beyond. So we could prepare a presentation talking about the Congress and the different topics that we will discuss during the Congress, and use this presentation as our SRI general statement presented maybe by Bernard at the committee session. Then I thought that to present a speech or a presentation about artificial intelligence, a help and a treat for civilization for civilian space development, it is a good idea because I believe it's an important topic, and for sure, at least to support the proposal to relocate the big data centers in orbit, because the demand for energy on Earth would be really unsustainable. And especially if we think that how much the people is starting to use even the free tools like ChatGPT and Google and so on. Each time you make a question to these tools, they consume a lot of energy and require cooling. Oh, Amalie is here. Hello, Amalie. Amalie, you're there? Don't hear you, don't see you.
Ah, yeah.
Okay,
Hi, yes, I'm here.
okay. Hello. Are you fine? Everything fine? Okay. Hello, Amalie. Good morning, I think. But we don't hear you. You have some problem with your microphone. Hello? Now you're mute. You're mute now. You unmute, but we don't hear you. Hello? Hello? No. No, you are mute again. Now you're unmute, but you talk. Please try to talk. No, nothing. Doesn't work. Your audio doesn't work.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, now. Yes, great.
The headphones aren't working. I take them off.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Good. So we have just started. We were discussing okay, let me share my document so we can use it as a track. Okay. So we were just saying that as Bernard suggested, that we should also have a general statement about SI, not linked to a specific item, but in general. So I suggest that we will use this slot to talk to announce our Congress, SRI Fourth World Congress, Quality of Life on Earth and beyond, as a general statement, naming the main topics that we will discuss in our Congress, and including the 18 SDG. And yeah, okay, so this is my proposal. And of course, this general statement could be presented by Bernard himself. And yeah, going to the other thing is that, as Dennis detected, we are not required to present all of our placeholders, but only the ones for the Scientific and Technical Committee in February. So we can delay the presentation of the other topics for the legal subcommittee in a more advanced time. So these are the topics that I would like to suggest. Let me see if I can show the titles that help us. Okay. So one speech or presentation could be on artificial intelligence, a help and a treat for civilization and for civilian space development. Another one on simulated gravity, start experimenting, ASAP. Another one, space habitats and vehicles design, humanist requirements, more redundancy of life support systems, full protection from sun and cosmic radiation. Another one, moon and geolunar space development, moon and Lagrange point settlements and industrialization, orbital debris reuse, space-to-space vehicles. And living in free space, a choice of freedom, more compliant with humanist requirements. So this, I saw a message from Mary Louise that she also agrees on presenting a speech about that. And she also proposed herself to do it, to present it. Just to mention my proposal for the legal subcommittee, where I didn't yet develop an abstract, what I call the failure of the UN 2030 agenda. And yeah, of course, we have to decide if we want to use this strong statement, the failure, or we should talk about standstill or something different, a different wording for this, the title of this. Traffic management and space situational awareness, orbital debris recovery and reuse. So this, of course, this point of orbital debris is here in the legal subcommittee, but it is also in the scientific and technical subcommittee, because this is a point that has, of course, two sides, no, two point of view, one technical and another legal. Then UN flag on the moon, proposal to both Artemis and IRS coalition. I think we should repropose that. And yeah, of course, the 18 SDG will be comprised in the failure of the 2030 agenda. While I am talking about a failure, because on 17 SDGs, we have 11 SDGs that are steady, so no progress and no regress. Only two that are, well, 12 points that are steady. Only 2 points that are very little in progress, and 3 that are definitely in regression. So I believe that this is a failure of the after 10 years of the issuing of the 2030 agenda, and the only question is if we have to call it for what it is, a failure, or we have to be a little bit softer in our wording in order not to.
Maybe we could write something like the missing points or something like that. Missing points of the UN agenda. Missing
In
points.
the chat, I'm sorry, go ahead. In the chat room, I just made a suggestion, enhancing the Space 2030 agenda. Enhancing seems to be one of those diplomatic words I've seen used. It suggests we're making it better, which implies it's not good enough. It just doesn't use the word failure. So that would be my suggestion for a diplomatic header, which still allows you to talk about the things that need to be done to improve it, like the 18th SDG and whatever.
Okay, so I put it in brackets by now just to remember what we try to do. Okay.
Right. Very good.
And
So, Adriano, when you talk about best practices, the enhancement, and you're talking about the consolidation, the harmonious consolidation and best practices, what are you actually meaning by that? Because that is what I think goes back to the technical session papers there. That if there are best practices and enhancement, are those going to be technological features at the UN or not? I mean, you know, with current conditions, what's going on, the nations are chasing the technology. The UN doesn't have any. And what I'm saying is that now is an opportunity to create this technological perspective, which is actually what's very badly needed, because if it's not technology at the UN, it's going to be military technology. You know, it's either technology for development and integration legally and economically, you know, globally, or it's going to be a divided up, segregated dynamic where you have a lot of military interests coming in. So I think it's counteractive. And that's why I'm asking if, you know, we can posit the 18th SDG as a technological node, which is something quite unique for the UN. They don't have such a thing, but they're being built all over the world and in outer space. And, you know, it's something that governments are very keen on. So it would be like a sort of hook to get the governments involved. Not to negate human rights, but just to kind of get the thing catalyzed. Choices will have to be made whether the nations want to build military constructs or developmental constructs, which all depends on the nation-state relationships, if they're working together in space or not. I mean, I don't want to go on and on, but perhaps you can see my point of view.
Yeah, no, I also want to refer to a comment made by Marie-Louise in her message today to the group, that she was somehow criticizing the concept of making of the 18 SDG an harmonization house only. Of course, our proposal of 18 SDG is not only that. 18 SDG is focused on civilian space development, and it is made to give more priority to some essential research items that are needed to make living and working in space for civilians more matching humanist requirements. This is the general meaning of the 18 SDG. Then, of course, among the scopes of the 18 SDGs, we can also mention the fact that it could be a working group inside the COPUOS to harmonize different best practices and proposals and so on. So, of course, so this is one of the scopes of the 18 SDG, not the only one. I think we have to reassure Marie-Louise that we don't want just to concentrate on COPUOS. We have to concentrate on the space.
Well, it's a very sensitive and extensive. The point is very, very, very. It's a very wholesale line of approach, because the whole situation with the AI and the data, globally, and the human rights, and governments that are run through technology and technocracies, and how are human rights meshing into those sorts of situations. I mean, the UN has a whole program about the dangers of AI, how dangerous it is, and how AI can quickly destroy, everybody's human rights across the world. So it's a very sensitive issue. And if we situate ourselves and say, okay, this 18th SDG can operate in this capacity, through computation and using up-to-date techniques, we're kind of getting right inside the the progression of this vast economy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think okay. I don't want only to talk myself. I also want to allow the other friends
I'm
to
sorry, I'm
say
being a
what.
little bit incoherent, but I think it's important that we say that
No, there are many
think
concerns.
there is a certain capacity that 18th SDG could fulfill, and that's actually a technological capacity. And I think that would be very helpful, because it puts us inside the advancing technology of the situation in, global economy, technology.
Well, okay. So just to tell you my point, my ideas, then maybe also Alberto could have something to say about artificial intelligence. I think the worst dangers about artificial intelligence is not that it can replace humans. The worst danger for me is that it can replace space development, because the artificial intelligence economy is already attracting a lot of investments, and if you see the foresees for 2030 and more, you will see that the growth curve of the artificial intelligence will surpass the space economy soon. in a couple of years, something like that. And I think this is the worst danger, because we run the risk to close ourselves in a cage again, and not to put all the energy that would be required to expand, to start expanding into space. We run the risk to only send robots in space, and to rely on artificial intelligence for solving the problems on Earth, but they will not be solved. First of all, the energy required by artificial intelligence on Earth is very, very huge, and it is definitely unsustainable. That's why we are proposing to move big data centers in space, in orbit, in order to be fed directly by the sun and avoid consuming energy sources on Earth. And we also run the risk to spend a lot of money in energy to solve trivial problems, because a lot of people is now using the tools, artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT, Google, and so on, to pose useless questions. And for each useless questions that we are posing to these tools, we are spending an enormous amount of energy. So if we see it from this point of view, I think our mission to kick off civilian space development is even more urgent. And the urgency to start moving people in space is even more urgent, because we have our only hope is to send as many people we can over there to see Earth from the space, from orbit and from the moon, and feeling the overview effect, and to understand that we are one only kind altogether on this small world, and that will be a real cultural revolution. That is.
Adriano, the other concept that links in here is that the internationalization of the settlement program is very important if we can get a kind of global settlement program rather than two separate, east-west settlement programs. It's the integration of the whole picture that's the thing that will make the difference, I think, because whether it's civilian development or, what is the alternative? It's very dangerous. I feel it's very dangerous. I think, we could get into the core of this, but the whole thing's very dangerous because the military interests are predominant, and they'll be in there for
Yes. Now we are in a very dangerous situation indeed.
Yeah.
So okay, let the other friends to say what they think about this few concepts that we have put on the table today, and how we should calibrate our message to couples. That's what we can do now. We are observer there, so we are allowed to talk to 110 countries of the world, representatives. That is an important floor that we can try to use for the best, for the better that we can. And so we have to be very, very careful choosing our arguments, our topics, our what we want to present, which arguments we want to put there, and that we should be able to let me say, to shock the monkey, yeah, like the song by Peter Gabriel, famous "Shock the Monkey." Yeah, okay.
Adriano, I would suggest a couple of things. One is try to make proposals that are in favor of something and not against something.
Of course.
So, and you always use a language that is appropriate for the diplomatic arena. So I agree that using, for instance, the failure of is not good, even if it is true, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not good to use that kind of language. Use always propose something. I would also suggest always make suggestions that are trying to unite things. So I agree with Amalie about. I don't think that is easy now in the current situation, geopolitical situation, to unite the programs of, for instance, China and US, because for political reasons, I think is very difficult. But in any case, we can suggest things to harmonize them, and of course, this is the right place to do it. And the other things I wanted to say is that to focus on not too many to focus on something and not to put too many things to try to do too many things all together, because we are not so strong to propose many things and then follow everything. We should focus on a few topics and go as deep as possible on those.
Yeah, I think good suggestions indeed. Yeah, so coming to the number of points, we have listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points: artificial intelligence, simulated gravity, space habitats and vehicles design, humanist requirements, and moon and geolunar space development, moon and Lagrange points settlements in the industrial use free space, and living in free space, choice of freedom. What do we think? Are these too many
Yeah,
topics?
I think it's fine, but I think if you're going to talk about AI, you should actually talk about AI at the UN, what the UN can do with AI. And one really easy objective for them would be to set up you know, technological node for the space program, a proper thing, something that consolidates the information and feeds into the legal situation and everything. I mean, it's very easy for them to do this. And the thing is that it's a it's a very innovative idea that the UN should actually build something like that, a technological node that they could do that. And it's going to catch a lot of attention. And if you're going to talk about AI and the data servers, and then if you say, mention this concept of the node, you're going to get a lot of interest. I mean, it's out there. People are trying to think how to handle the dynamic, but the best thing is internationalization. But that has to happen through the AI, through the UN, the AI, the data, the whole thing. It should be a global effort. It's just my opinion, but
Sorry, just to understand what you are suggesting, to create a technological node inside the corpus. Is that?
yes, yeah, it's a specifically to handle the space databases and the situational awareness, but basically the whole thing, the registration, the dual usage issues about the treaty, and also distribution of informational assets, for the 17th SDGs. They could be enormously empowering. You get the information collated globally, the AI can produce, do problem solving, all sorts of things, could really speed up the agenda. I mean, just speed it up and catalyze it. Use modern technology to do this. by putting the technological node for space. But that's what they've been seeking. That's why they're right, the 2030 space agenda. The UN is looking for the space agenda. The space agenda is actually data communications, all of this economic wave. But they don't have a node, a method of collating and distributing it. The
Well,
tools that they're using are very primitive.
we don't know. We don't know what they have.
They write, send your remarks back. This is their methodology. It's very primitive. You got all this information in the computer. It's churning out all sorts of things that are immensely relevant to nations across the world, especially developing nations. They want to know what's going on up there. How are they ever going to find out if there's no open technology that they can access?
So you mean that the member states should have, let me say, a portal or something where they can
Yes,
put questions
yes,
to UN,
yeah,
and UN will have its own engine, let me say,
yes.
that can find the data and answer something
Yeah,
like that.
that's the expedient pathway. It's easy to put in place. It's cost effective. It means they don't have to build more buildings. They don't have to employ lots more people. You get the machines to do this. But you need the technological node. Now, the technological node can be put in place under the 18th SDG. It can be one of the aspects of the 18th SDG
Mhm.
is researching, inquiring, analyzing. But when you make the presentation at the technological subcommittee, you should mention this. I mentioned this idea to the Mexican delegate, and immediately she was incredibly enthusiastic. And I think, I mean, you might get opposition from America or
So we are
some nation that wants a monopoly, but generally speaking, the nations will go for this because they want access, and
I have one question, excuse me.
sorry, no, just let me add one word. We are suggesting that the UN will have its own data center,
yes, it's for
and
space.
it should be open to all the
Yeah,
people
to
of
all
Earth.
nations and
Okay.
collating all the
Yeah.
information that's
Okay. Okay.
relevant and referring that back to legal committees and human rights committees and whatever. But there needs
Great.
to be a technological node.
Okay.
What Werner?
Yes, I have a question. In my opinion, it could be a problem that artificial intelligence is then centralized at the United Nations headquarters. And who controls artificial intelligence if it is in a central way done,
Well, it's
in a
controlled by
centralistic way?
nation oversight, all nation oversight. You can't really exploit it. AI is based on logic and accurate information. But I mean, there's proper oversight. I mean, the politics are still there. They'll still argue about whether or not this application's valid or if it's been interpreted the right way. But generally speaking, AI is pretty accurate in its, assumptions that it makes.
Yes,
If it's
but I
given the
think
correct information.
I, be, I am of the opinion that humans always have to control artificial intelligence. And if it's just one institution who controls it, I doubt whether it will be a real
Yeah, but the institution
control.
is all the nations of the world. Where else are you going to find an institution that represents all peoples? This is the only institution that does. You want it controlled by one nation or block of nations or another one. The dynamics are confrontational. I mean, you have like competition. There's a lot of competition, and segregation, but I don't see why the UN node would be detrimental to the competitive environment. I think that will still continue, but it would be
We will
useful.
hope so, yeah. We will hope so.
Yeah, it wouldn't shut anything else down, but it would be useful to many people, I think. I think it would be well supported, especially by developing nations, but
And Amalie, I understand that the UN should also only collect information, essentially, and give it, put it at disposition of everyone who needs it. I think
yeah,
not.
that's part of their function, yeah, but they're not modernized, they're not up to speed. They, the 18th SDG could contain and develop this node. It's not difficult. It's quite an easy job. It seems like a very big idea, a very big thing. It's not really. It's just a modernization process is going on everywhere, in all industries, everywhere. Then why not the UN? But I think it would give us some real kind of clout, if you like. It would
Yes.
be something that would be it'd be in very good stead for supporting the SDG, right? It would give us the the thing that we need to get this SDG going. It's very powerful. Everybody wants it. The moment you drop this idea in
Okay.
there.
Okay, I understand the comment by Werner about the possibility to big to build a big brother in this case under the UN control, and that would be, well, another danger, if we can say so, because we already have dangers of this kind from the technocrats, from the techno-authoritarians and so on, and we also have a threat by the UN, of course, by the biggest bureaucracy of our world. So, but yeah, the balance is always there. The trade-off is should we
I don't think that
should we aim to have more information, more answers to our questions, to have more tools for development on one side, or running the risk to be controlled and by a centralized control. This is always the trade-off, and it's not easy to give an answer, of course.
But I don't see it as a control by an entity. It's just collecting information about
yes, that's
some
right.
issues, essentially about space, and give it, make it available to everybody. So it's nothing about control. By the way, if we have to fear control, it is by people like Google, like OpenAI, and so, who are already controlling artificial intelligence, and they are just a few companies.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true.
It would not be the UN. The UN has no means to control anything. Consider that UN agencies don't authorize anything. They just exchange information. We already discussed about other international organizations, not only the UN, about ICAO, ICAO. They don't control anything and don't authorize anything. They just harmonize things internationally. Then the control is all up to the nations.
Yeah, I agree with Alberto.
What does Dennis think about all of this discussion? Is our legal point of view today? Yeah.
Well, so to speak. I I I I don't think we need an overarching supranational authority of any sort. That's the control thing. And I think that people run up against that wall generally in the international community and are willing to accept that there's going to be, I think they call it polycentric governance, where you have more than one center of authority doing stuff. And that's basically based on the nation state thing. But also there was a reference to the large corporations who also seem to have as much of a finger on the control button as many nation states do. We've been warned about that for decades. So, yeah, I don't think it's too bad supporting the United Nations as a repository of information, technology, and whatever to try to distribute it to the other. But we also have to understand that countries and their nationals cannot be forced by the UN to divulge that stuff. And that's what I think it was Alberto was saying. It's a good avenue for voluntary discussion, but not for legislating a regulating that countries must do things.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of legislative enforcement. You just need the information flows to be accessible. That's all.
And that's why I think I'm sorry. So I think it's okay for SRI to support the United Nations being a repository. I know we're thinking of doing that with the 18th SDG, that there's sort of a clearinghouse of everything. And I think that's still a good proposal. But I think ultimately, if that becomes sort of institutionalized through the United Nations, it becomes stronger. But we should certainly push the concept as much as we can through the 18th SDG, even getting the UN General Assembly on board ultimately beyond COPOIS. So I think it's all good strategies. And I think we don't have to fear that the United Nations will become that supranational authority, because they're always going to be sort of a volunteer.
Werner's worried about.
So if I can try to pull out something from this discussion, what we could suggest is this: considering that UN is already collecting data about space. No, this is our perception, but is a little bit outdated as far as technology is concerned. We could suggest to modernize a little bit their capability, their capacity to share information. Is that what we can earn from this discussion? Yeah, I know, Amalie, I know that you are in favor because you were proposing
sorry.
it.
Excuse me.
Yes.
There is one other legal point. We have been consistently stating, at least for a few years, that even though we encourage the sharing of information as much as possible, that we also want to acknowledge and honor intellectual property laws that protect the patents and copyrights, just so that the private economy has a vehicle for making money, amongst other things. Those things are assets as far as income producers. So I think even if we promote the sharing and dissemination as much as possible, that we still have that one little caveat, but let's acknowledge and protect intellectual property rights under national law.
Yeah. Okay, so
I think there must be a legal framework in any case if we want to do it like Amalie has proposed now. It needs an absolute legal framework in any case.
Yeah. Respecting the Outer Space Treaty, of course, respecting the provision of the OST.
At least the Outer Space.
It ties in with the space weapons ban, and it really depends on what the global leadership, what is the point of view. But it's actually much more productive to go for the space weapons ban, on a collaborative basis than to separate things out. But there's some kind of choice in there, but it's a political choice, and it's sort of high-level political choices. But I think we should promote space weapons ban and a technological node and do that anyway. and keep our fingers crossed that the dynamic will follow through, you
Yeah.
know.
And this is a technical point, however, because we are talking about sharing the information about technical capacities and so on. So it is perfectly fitting in the scientific and technical subcommittee discussion. I think if we okay, if we want to try writing an abstract for this point, I think
I did send something, Adriano. I don't know if it's suitable, but
did you? Okay.
yeah, I sent an abstract a couple of hours ago that
Okay.
Marilyn
I
was
have not seen it yet, but
motivating.
I will check it. Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
That's fine.
okay.
But I would, okay, let me say, I would keep this point separated from the artificial intelligence and all the discussion about data centers and so on. It is another point, different.
No, I think it could be included together with it. It doesn't have to be a separate topic, you know, if it's, I mean,
I think it is better to keep it separate because we are talking about information sharing and making information more available to everybody, to all the countries, whatever their status, whatever their
all right,
capacities,
understood. So there were
space.
two things that came out of the discussion. I was very helpful that Dennis pointed out intellectual property rights and
Yes, yes, yes.
and
And that, of course, this is a legal point. The intellectual
no,
property
yeah,
is a legal
and
point.
right, and there was something else, but anyway, it was very helpful. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, as Werner and Alberto were talking about whether or not this is enforcement or what is it, and also the fact that it's an optional system. You can opt in, you can opt out, you can give what information you want into the system or not. So that leaves nations basically free to pursue their own whatever, their agendas, with the option of contributing into this if it suits their purposes, into the node. You know, it's not a enforceable legislation. You have to participate, or else you can if you want to, in order to make the information available to everybody. You see, so the nations will subscribe. They may do or they may not. We can make these suggestions and see what happens. We don't really know. Do we know what will happen? No.
okay.
I think it's quite dangerous, but I think it's worth putting ideas out there to see what kind of responses there are, which, you know, if the ideas are acceptable or not, or I don't know. Sorry, I'm not being helpful. Frank, what do you think? Anything about this? No.
Unmute.
I'm just catching up. I don't think I have a very useful opinion at the moment. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to any point related to centralized information and distributed information is not easy because there are so many actors nowadays in the world that have interest to manipulate the information, to channelize information, to give false information also. So it's a very so the one important question mark is who do we trust? Can we trust somebody or nobody? If we trust nobody, we just have to support the internet to be free as it was so far and allowing all information to go around, the true information and the false information, and even the fact checking is very controversial because who knows if the one in charge to make fact checking are honest or not, objective or not. So we are really living in a jungle, and it's very hard to give useful suggestions for going better to improve the situation. But that's what, yeah, that's why we say let's start expanding into space, because this will solve even this kind of problems, because information will become more true. And if there will be abundance of resources, there will not be a ferocious fight for resources. Then we can think that the general climate will be a little bit more clear, more serene, let me say, more peaceful, and so on. And because even the bad information, the fake information, is a result of the general climate, of the general aggressive climate. You know, that everyone want to say what I say is the truth, and the other one are fake. Okay, however. Yeah, I think we can try to write something about this suggestion. I maintain that it should be a separate point, not linked to the artificial intelligence. Even if, of course, it is a little bit implicit that if you make a node, a public node where people can make questions, you have nowadays, if you want to be really modern and supportive and be quick in your answers, you have to use an artificial intelligence kernel to make the search in the information and so on. But yeah, we can think that if this kind of motor, kind of engine, only search inside the database of the information collected by UN, it would be less probable that false fake information will be shared, because yeah, we are basically talking about data collected by the satellite observation, Earth observation satellites, and other things, and also information taken from the space weather, climate, the sun, the cosmic radiation, gravitational waves, and all these kind of things. And so it should be information somehow scientifically evaluated before putting inside the shared information of the database, contained in the database. So I think if we make this kind of suggestion, we should also make a point emphasizing point on scientific attention to the information that are collected, and
Yeah. So this could be one presentation for the technical committee in February. I've written a kind of abstract. I can revise it a bit in light of today's discussion. But if it's submitted, we can then develop a larger paper together or something, and put a few ideas up in a talk. Is that possible, do you think?
And this could be also linked to the situational awareness and traffic management.
Yeah, that would be a large component in there. Yes, very important.
Yeah, by the way, I have not added this point. Oh my God.
Bye, everybody. Gotta go.
I forgot it. Hi, Frank. Bye, Frank. Sorry, I see now that I forgot this point in my list. I have to add it.
Yes, I think that this system should be mainly focused to situational awareness and traffic management.
Yes, yes.
I think that the part relevant to traffic management and situational awareness is the only one that should be mandatory, because all the nations must know at least what is up there, what is the traffic, what has been launched, even if someone they don't want to disclose what they do exactly with that satellite, but we should know that the satellite is there, what is the trajectory, and so on. This should be mandatory.
Well, the nations will, what is in their interest to disclose or not disclose. I mean, they'll sort it out, but there should be somewhere where this can be collated, some location. So that could be the 18th SDG clearinghouse is what we're suggesting that.
Okay. Okay, so I will check what you have written, Amalie, and try to make an abstract on this point. SSA and traffic management and space information available. So space weather also, space weather.
Well, it's it's a node, is technologically enabled node is the thing.
Yes,
It's
yes, yeah.
accessible very easily. So good. So that will be there as one submission for February. So perhaps the talk will happen in February
Okay,
or a paper. Yeah.
good. Now, okay, so sorry because I completely forgot because it was important. We had a discussion about that in the past weeks. So, okay. Okay, personally, I think we could maintain the presentation of all of these abstracts and see what UNOSA will say. If they say there are too many topics, you should regroup something, then we will do it. But I think it could be important to present all of these separated abstracts just to let them know what are our arguments, what we want to say.
How many are there, Adriano, that you're thinking of sending in? How many do you have? How many abstracts?
Sorry, I show it before you were not here.
Are there
Yeah, I will
4
show.
or
I will
5?
show. I will show it again. No problem.
All right.
No problem. So, okay, these are my proposals. The first one is a general point on the Space Renaissance International for All, announcing the SRI Fourth World Congress, Quality of Life on Earth and Beyond, presenting
What has that got to do with the technical subcommittee? I mean, that's our program. It's not.
Yes, this is something suggested by Bernard. Bernard said we should also have a presentation or a speech about SRI in general terms. He
Oh, I
already
see. Okay. Yeah.
he already made something like that in the past sessions, and I think it's a good thing. And he could make this presentation. And I suggest that this should be about our Congress, because it's important to present our Congress.
Isn't that a bit like kind of sort of publicity, trying to
Yeah.
make publicity?
Then for the scientific and technical subcommittee, what I'm proposing is artificial intelligence and help and the treat for civilization and for civilian space development.
Well, I think that you could actually include the technological node under the 18th SDG. Could be included in that paper.
No, I have added.
All right, okay.
I have added at the end this one. Space information available, technical node. Okay, technological.
Oh, that's in with that one. Okay,
node.
that's the third.
Yeah, space information available to our countries and peoples of Earth, also related to the 18 SDG technological node at the UN.
All right, great. Okay, so that's 3. Are there any more? Because if we have 3, we've got 3 there, 3 abstracts, 3 papers. Maybe that's sufficient.
I was trying to reply to your question, which abstracts I have. So, okay. The first one is about artificial intelligence, and I think we should discuss the artificial intelligence point from the technical and political point of view in terms of huge demand of energy and our proposal to put data centers in space and so on. And also the danger that the AI, if confined to Earth, especially, could represent a competitor for space development. And that is a real danger that we have to discuss somehow and make people aware of that. Then simulated gravity, start experimenting ASAP. And this, I think, it's a very important point, and we can refer to the Island Zero project by Jerry Stun. And yeah, to remark the terrible delay in experimenting with simulated gravity, because so far we don't have any even small tentative of a demonstration, anything. So this topic, simulated gravity, is completely neglected by the space agency so far. And okay, of course, if we go deeper searching in the NASA archives, we will find a lot of materials about that, about on-air work and so on. But the point is that no project was still financed to experiment something. Nothing has flown so far. Then space habitats and vehicles design, humanist requirements, more redundancy of life supporting system, full protection from sun and cosmic radiation. So to give some basic requirements for the design of new generation of space habitats and vehicles. And moon and geolunar space development, moon and Lagrange points, settlements and industrialization, orbital debris reuse, and space-to-space vehicles. So here we have to also introduce our concept that we have developed in the last months about space-to-space vehicles, and explaining why we need this kind of vehicles, and not only the Earth to orbit vehicles, but also the space to space that will be completely different based on different requirements with respect to the Earth or Earth to orbit and return. Then living in free space, a choice of freedom more compliant with humanist requirements, and this reflects. If you want to see it, so my newsletter about flamboyance, about the design of space habitats and so on, that should be very much redundant and oriented to the beauty and to the not only survival requirements, but also well-being requirements and so on. So it is more related to the quality of life in space. Then, okay, technological node at UN that we will write an abstract using the material provided by Amalie, and other points that we have discussed today. So the sharing information, 100% inclusivity, sharing information with all, and intellectual property protection. Okay. And the systematization of best practices. Also, this is important in the frame of the 18 SDG harmonization house. Okay. But okay, I will write it better. Of course, these are just a few notes, just to not forget any point. I think for the legal subcommittee, we can postpone our discussion. Of course, any suggestion that we have now can be added to this document. Then I think I will split this document in two. One is for the scientific technical, in February, and the other one will be later in the legal subcommittee. But of course, if we have some important point to be annotated here, just as a note for future use, please go. No, but before going, are these topics really enough? At the beginning, Alberto said that we have to choose attentively a few points on which to focus, and so I still ask you to focus on this problem now, and to see if these points are enough, if there are too many, if we forgot something important.
I think we should maybe combine the space habitats and vehicles design and the simulated gravity. I think this would be possible because these are the same items, with the same
it
problems.
seems to me that you could combine the zero gravity and the habitat
Yes, I
papers
think so.
together, because they're both about this habitat systems. So one is for zero gravity, another one might be for something else, but they're habitat systems, and also the protection against radiation and things and so on is also part of the
can be packed.
zero
Yes, in
configuration.
my opinion, we can pack it into one speech or one presentation,
Yeah.
which I would like to do.
Yeah, just remember that if we make one only presentation of these 3 points, we have only the time of one presentation. So we have to reduce our arguments and our
An associated paper can go into different aspects, but you know,
you mean to make a Rome paper? You are proposing that?
Well, it could be, yes, if you'd like to try and do that. You know, they're quite extensive topics, so there's, very short speech, but you can provide additional materials, and then just, very, very quickly the outline of what that discussion is.
Okay. Okay, we can try to do that. Why not?
So how do we make a conference room paper? We have to hold a side event, or what? How does that happen, Adriano? If for the technical committee, if you wanted to make a room paper, how would you do that? What is the process?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I saw in one of the session of 2024, I think, I saw Alfred Azardua that was working furiously to finalize a room paper, a conference room paper that the NSS was presenting, and yeah, it was making a terrific work during the meeting. So I don't know what is the proposal. The process.
Werner is in Vienna. Werner could find out about how to set up a conference room paper and a
Well,
more extensive
no,
presentation.
it would be terrible to be there and write a paper, because at least you have to already arrive there with your paper, even if not finalize
Yeah, no, I
you
mean,
just,
what I'm saying is Werner could find out the process, how to book the room for the
well, I think that
side event, a side event.
when I will submit this paper to UNUSA, and yeah, now it is time, because it is to be done between the 15th of December. When I will submit, I will also ask them what is exactly the procedure to be followed to present a room paper, a conference room paper. Then we will know what is. But I think it's the same thing that we already have done, right? Dennis have done something like that. for the. Dennis is still with us or not? Let me see, participants. Yeah, Dennis is still with us. Dennis, you have already presented the paper, right? Our paper to UNOSA.
We submitted a paper last year, well, earlier this year at the sessions.
Yes.
And if that's what you're talking about, the answer is yes. Oops.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry.
However, yeah, I will remake the question. However, what is the timing? What is the deadline? And what is exactly the procedure? It's enough we write our paper, we submit it to you, or what else? I will make these questions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So our decision could be to put together these 3 points: simulated gravity, start experiment.
Adriano,
Yes,
are
Alberto?
you sure these 3 points? Because it seems to me that the third point is not so, should stay on its own.
Moon and geolunar space development, you mean?
Yes.
So you
If
think
you have orbital debris, space-to-space vehicles,
is heavy? Yes,
it's
yes.
not the same thing as space habitats and vehicles design and simulated. For sure, simulated gravity should be put inside space habitats and vehicles design. This, yes,
Okay,
for sure.
so we can combine the
Cool.
two.
Yes,
Wait,
the two we can combine, sure, yeah.
yeah, I would just suggest this, not to,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then maybe do other mergers if we are forced to, because maybe they are too many. Simply, they will answer us to that they are too many.
Yes, 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 yes. I will write in case there's no room for all the above presentation. We might unify some topics. Of course, in this case, each topic we have reduced the argumentation. I will write this to ONUSA and see what they say. Yes, I am also thinking about how they can allocate these points in their items. Is it already published? The items of the STS in February? Somebody has explored the UNOSA site. Maybe we can do it now. Can do it now. UNOSA.
Are you looking for our papers on the UN site?
No, no. I am looking if they already issued the calendar of the STSC.
Oh,
Let's see. Okay, Corpus 2026. 2026 sessions. Okay, so the STSC is from 2 to 13 February. Session, the webcast session with list of recommended microphones, daily journals, schedule, orientation, updates, organization. Implementation of the new approach to managing technical presentation. Okay, one or more full meetings per session could be allocated for technical presentation. Group it according to agenda item. The dates of the meeting full indicate. Okay.
Oh, that's good. We should try and get a meeting then for the habitat and perhaps something else. Island Zero.
Yes, yes. This was Yeah, we were trying to do that together with NSS in 2023, but then we were not able to do it, and we have not tried again in 2024, and neither in 2025.
Well,
However,
we could set up the meeting, and hopefully we'd have enough representatives there to make good presentation, good solid
yes, of
presentation.
course, we could do it. We could do that. Yeah, we can also put it inside here. Proposal to hold a side meeting on the 18 SDG, for instance.
Or the habitat development, Island Zero is good topic for the technical
Yeah,
committee as well.
yeah. On yeah.
Or two side meetings. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. But going back to the organization here, a list of presentations should be available on first day of the session for possible dating and be closed by so not all additional requests for presentation after that day. Meetings are to be held before the delivery of presentation. Three presentation per meeting. What does it mean? Three presentation per. So this means that
Three presentations. Oh, yeah, right.
should inscribe no later than 1 week before. 10 minutes per presentation. Chair about internet. Speaking not for present. Okay, good that there are 10 minutes and not less. Speaking not for presentation should be provided to facilitate interpretation. Content should be closed. But what does it mean? This that each organization is allowed a 3 presentation maximum.
No, that means that one organization can put three presentations in their meeting, doesn't it?
Okay, so in this case, we should limit ourselves to 3 abstracts. Correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
and then have a side meeting to discuss the three.
No, the side meeting is another thing. It's not this the
Or
point.
is it? All right, I misunderstand. Sorry.
I think, well, I'm not sure I understood correctly, but if it is so, yeah, if it is so, we already have more. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It is to
Well,
be
you're going
clarified.
to find out what is the duration of a side meeting, because my impression was they were at least an hour long, maybe longer, with
Yeah, no,
refreshments
but
afterwards.
listen, Amalie,
What?
this point, existing agreement is not talking about side meetings.
Oh, all right. Yeah, right.
It's talking
Okay.
about the meeting, the scientific technical session, I think.
Is it?
I think. Reduce the number, Secretary might, upon consultation with the member state of observer concern, reduce the number of presentation requested. Secretary will take the necessary decision in the scheduling of presentation in the smooth running of the session. When delegation requests the scheduling of presentation, they are to be indicate which of their presentation they wish to be given priority consideration. Okay. Set. No consensus. So they discussed it, but they didn't reach a decision about set a limit on the total number of presentation per session, limit the number of presentation per observer. Okay, so they didn't reach a consensus on this. So there is not a limit of presentation per observer organization. So I think we can present 4 abstracts without problems. Okay, do you understand the same that I?
Adriano, I hate to pour water on this, but I think when they say 3 presentations per meeting, of 10 minutes each, they're not talking about for each organization. They're talking about everyone, all the presentations, technical presentations. So depending upon the number of meetings that they have, when in those days are being shrunk, there may not be that many.
No, but
I think throughout the course of the 6 days of meetings that are there may be an opportunity for 3 different presentations by SRI, but I wouldn't count on having 3 10-minute presentations in a meeting, in like a morning session or an afternoon session.
okay. So
Yeah.
the meeting. So we don't know how to intend this word
Yeah,
meeting.
the
It
term
could
is
be that
there.
the 13 days of the whole session, for instance,
Yeah.
or it can be one day or one morning or afternoon. We don't know.
Yeah, I think my guess is that they're referring to like a morning session, and that they're going to allow 3 technical presentations from countries or observers during each session.
No,
And
no,
that
no,
will
no,
be competing for those. That's just my guess.
no, but they are very much more, many more. I have
Okay.
assisted personally to 10, 20 presentations in the same morning. So,
Okay, I may be wrong.
okay. So I think, no, this is important that they discuss it, but they reached no consensus about these points. Limit the number of presentations for observer organizations. So that means that we can propose 4 abstracts. I think they're not out of the limit. And okay, first week presentations. Okay, they don't have, or they don't have an agenda so far, because this is what they have now. Just
Excuse me, Adriano. While you have that chart on the screen, I think it's worth noting that they say 3 TPs for each one of those segments, like Monday in the afternoon, 3 TPs, Tuesday
yeah,
morning, 3 TPs. So it may be that limitation is there.
yeah,
So, but there's a lot of them, what, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 30. There's at least 33 altogether. So we might still be able to get, a few, but I think that might be the upper limit.
Yes, so it's very low because it means 3 presentations, 6 per day.
yeah.
That's what it looks like. And I think this is because of what Adriano referred to before. Their budget has been shrunk. And so they're actually less working days, and they're squeezing other things in there, which is why there's not as much time for the technical presentations. That's just a guess.
I don't know. We will write and ask, and they will see. They will say what we can do. Okay.
And it's always worth submitting the proposals. They may decide that the ones we're submitting are very important, and give us the number of slots we request.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We have to better study these charts and write them asking what can be done. Okay. Okay, so I think we have covered the scientific and technical subcommittee. Now, if we want to add something about the legal subcommittee, even if in a great big advance. Okay, the traffic management and space situational awareness I have mentioned it here in the legal subcommittee. because this is more a legal and policy item, of course, but it has a technical side, so it was also correct to put it here in the SSA traffic management space weather. But don't understand what is happening here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if we don't have anything to say about the legal subcommittee, we can close maybe this meeting.
And
And
the UN flag on the moon, there's like, you know,
yes,
the lunar program is going ahead. We need to get, you
it
know,
is.
some what you call it anyway, you know, some nations that people who wants to do this thing, you know, it's very important. The people are going to be landing on the moon.
I have added.
Endorsement is the word. We need to get endorsement for this idea. You know, endorsement. We open up a forum for endorsement or something. You know.
Yes.
Put, yeah, something in place that countries can endorse
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Then I propose to reproposing the provisions to support the right of wreckage recovery or orbital debris recovery and reuse coming from the ICSIS law, and the concepts of space salvage entity, International Space Anti-Dumping and Salvage Convention, informed by customary international law, that was proposed by NSS by David Dunlop in I think 2017 or 18, is where to retake these points and repropose them to the to couples to the legal subcommittee, because they are worth to be pursued. And traffic management and space situational awareness, the legal and policy aspects of this, international coordination needed, safeguarding 100% inclusivity and the right of all the countries of planet Earth according to Outer Space Treaty. So to make it as an information feature, not as a control feature. And yeah, we had a discussion, a written discussion a couple of weeks ago about that. And yeah, I think we reached an agreement on this point, and also about the using the example of ICAO, that is the Civil Aviation International authority, that is not is only a sharing of information point and not not entitled to release licenses. So it's only entitled to share information with all the countries and allowing all the states to decide about flight licenses. And yeah, these are the points that I have. I was able to remember to put inside. Okay. So I'm asking if there is something else that should be added here. And I think
You know,
yes, I think we have something. Yes, Dennis, we have the space letters, of course.
I've been hooked on the related declarations since
Yes.
you and Wes brought them up to my attention earlier. One is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and
Yes,
the other is the Declaration of the Right to Develop.
exactly.
And especially that second one, the language in it is so beautiful about humans needing the right to
Yes,
develop in order
yes,
to fully express their humanity and all that kind of good stuff. And
yes,
somehow I think, even though that was kind of tucked into our paper last year or earlier this year, I think it's nice to keep reminding them of that. It's that speak for the settlers thing, where we got to make sure that their
yes,
human rights are protected and the right to develop is protected. So
yes, yes, yes,
somehow, if we can squeeze those, at least mentioning those two things into one of the presentations, I
yes,
I think it's a good role for us.
definitely, yes. And there was something I wanted to say, and now I don't remember. Okay. However, correct, it is here. So we have improving, okay, let's replace this, improving or enhancing
Enhance.
the UN 2030 agenda. Then traffic management and space situational awareness, orbital debris recovery and reuse, UN flag on the moon, and rights of space settlers, civil rights, right to development. By the way, okay, I remember now what I wanted to say. So if we compare the Civil Rights Declaration of UN, the 1948, correct? 1948,
I
yes.
think so.
Where there is it is mentioned the right to individual property, private property,
Yes, that is one of the terms in it. Although I think
but by do we think, and we should maybe discuss this and clarify a little bit, that this is somehow in conflict with the Outer Space Treaty, saying that the property,
right. They
private
know
property, is not
non-appropriation.
allowed.
Yeah. And that is the one troublesome one. And Wes and I have gone back and forth on this. Uh, yeah, you can't force it. It is a voluntary declaration, and the section about individual ownership of property, the way I interpret it is that if you have a system that allows any type of ownership, then each individual must have equal access to that right of ownership of property. But if you have a system that does not have any ownership of private property, then that provision in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights doesn't apply, at least under the Outer Space Treaty. Keep in mind, in the far future, if settlements do become autonomous, actually independent, then at least briefly they're not covered under the OST, and they can establish certain sovereignty over an area.
Because they
And
will be independent, yes.
because they will be independent, they won't be a member of the Outer Space Treaty to start out with, so they can do that. And at that point, we would want that particular section of the Universal Declaration to apply, so that all individuals are treated fairly at that point in their ability to seek ownership of property. There is one other aspect of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that we have found important, and Keith Hansen has been the big proponent of this, and that has to do with the right to seek sanctuary. Like someone at the China base might walk over to the UN base or the US base or whatever and say, "Hey,
Ah,
I'm seeking sanctuary. I can't handle it over there anymore," or vice versa. Uh, and that seemed to be a big point. Uh, he and his wife wrote an article about that like 30 or 40 years ago, back when the L5 Society was in its heyday, which he helped found. And we've always, or at least the last couple of years, we've consistently put it in our papers that that we think that right to sanctuary is an important one.
Okay, I have a question for you, Dennis. Do you think this is a point that we should discuss in our Congress and even
I think
more?
in our Congress we should definitely talk about it.
So you will present a paper, I think, for the Congress, right?
If I am prepared to do that on these specific topics, sure.
Great. So I think it would be, yeah, very important to discuss and maybe to clarify what is our position with respect to this. And of course, I think, yeah, you are right. The main point is that we are thinking to the rights of the space settlers. And if it is correct that that the OST forbids the property of any part of a celestial body from Earth.
Precisely.
From Earth.
Precisely. Yes.
That would be a colonialist property if it
Precisely. And that's why that non-appropriation clause is so good for us, because it keeps the Earth powers from establishing colonies and sucking up all the area for their control.
Exactly.
And it reserves it for the settlers who become independent. It's a beautiful clause.
Fine. So, yeah, if you allow me, I would like to be a co-author of your paper on this point.
Sure, certainly.
Great. Okay. So, well, yeah, I think we have made a good piece of work even today, and so we can close maybe this meeting if anything more to be said. Nothing more. Okay. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next time. Ad Astra. Bye-bye.
Ad Astra.
Bye-bye.
Bye.